Now, apologies, I'm not sure what time, but look at it, it's good. Welcome. Musicians in place, so that's important. So, a few minutes to introduce, first of all, to welcome you. It's been a long time. This concert was to have taken place in, 2 years ago, and it's been postponed twice, so it's really wonderful to be here at last. So, welcome, everybody, and to the Allabair Trio concert and Camino launch event. So, did somebody, or am I getting reverb or something? Did somebody speak? No? Okay. On behalf of Ferns Heritage Project, I'd like to welcome our public representatives, Cathedral, Barbara Ann, and other dignitaries like Billy. Actually, I better, tourism officer. And we have loads of other, we're all important. So, a special welcome to our pilgrims from both Wexford and Wales. And a warm welcome to you all to this very special event. Welcome to the Ancient Connections team. They're dotted throughout from Wales and from Wexford. I should say that funding for the concert came through the Ancient Connections programme, and there is no doubt that the concert wouldn't have taken place without that funding, and especially all the bells and whistles of light and sound and interesting stuff. Just to say that because the event is being videographed, we ask that you don't video. You can take photographs, but not, please, video. We'll let you know when it's available to watch. The Ancient Connection programme has a huge variety of projects within it, both in Ferns and St. David's. And the programme was inspired by the relationship between St. Edan and St. David. And alongside the concert, we commissioned Melanie O'Reilly, vocalist, sitting over there, to write a 3-phase suite inspired by the relationship, again, between St. Edan and St. David. And the first phase is going to be sung tonight, and then hopefully next year we'll have the whole suite being performed. So for the running order, we're getting now closer. So for the running order of this evening, we'll start with the concert performed by the Allabair Trio. David Creevy on guitar, Melanie O'Reilly, vocalist, and Bruin Favreau on uilleann pipes and low whistle. They will be joined, at the end of the concert, they'll be joined by our local choir, the Cordon Blues, and no clapping, please. I know I've been lucky enough to have been in on a few sessions, practice sessions, and really impressed, so I'm sure we'll all enjoy this evening. The choir is led by Mary Moles and joined by Oran Fitzpatrick on the keyboards. So, immediately following the concert, we'll pass over to the Ancient Connections team, and they'll introduce us to the pilgrims. And when that section is over, the pilgrims will leave the cathedral, and we would ask that the audience stays remaining in their seat, so that just to give them time to kind of organise, because right after this you go outside the cathedral and there will be a spectacle organised by Lantern Presents, and that's about I suppose a really celebratory send-off for the pilgrims on their journey. It'll only take a minute, say, for when everything ends, and you can then leave after a minute or so. We'll give you the nod. So before I hand over to Dean Paul Mooney, Dean of the Cathedral here in Ferns, I point out that the exits, and actually there is only one exit, it's the one you've come in, but that's as you've come in. So turn around and go right. And the other thing is the toilets are through the chapter room, so there'll be somebody to show you if you need to use the facilities. And then, the last thing, I've mentioned that. Is there anything else? Oh, turn your phones off, please. So that's basically it. Thanks so much to everybody for coming. It wasn't a great day, but I think it's clearing up a little bit, and look forward to spending the evening with you. Thank you. I'll hand over to Dean Mooney.
Thank you very much, and it's great to have you all here in St. Edan's. It's said that we are the smallest cathedral in Europe. I'm not very sure about that, but we're certainly a small place, and it's nice to see so many people here. We know that there was a stone church in Ferns, and a stone building would have been quite rare at that time in Ireland in 800 AD. And as you've seen, probably if you've seen anything of the surrounds here, there are crosses and various pieces of things that would date from that time. So some of the stones, presumably in this building, go back really to the time of St. Edan himself. Of course, they're stones, so they go back further. And it has a sense of continuation. But Ferns very much has a sense of peace and gentleness, and this spot in particular. And I hope that while you are here, you experience some of that, because we're sending off pilgrims tonight, but regardless of religion or faith or anything of that nature in life, we are, in a sense, all on a pilgrimage. And a moment of quiet and a moment of reflection, and to listen to some good music and have some time to think is always a good thing on our journey. Thank you.
And now I'll hand you over to the very talented Allabair trio. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're delighted to be here performing for you this evening. The first piece I'm going to play is a solo guitar piece by Turlough O'Carolan. It's called Shibio Gagashi Moor, which means Little Fairy Hill and Big Fairy Hill. And just to give a brief background to the piece, because it's probably one of his most famous pieces, a long time ago there was two clans who were battling between two hills, and little did they know that that the hills were inhabited by fairies, and they decided to perform a fairy dance to bring about peace and reconciliation. So even though this was composed for harp, I transcribed it for guitar and tried to capture the fairy aspect to it. Okay, so I hope you enjoy it.
That was a really nice opening. And I'll continue the beginning of the concert by playing two tunes from Brittany. And to be honest, I didn't really know what to play to open that concert as a solo piece. So I decided to look for sacred music in Brittany. And I chose 2 tunes. The first one is a tune about the Passion of the Christ on his way to the cross. And that's a tune I'm used to play for weddings or funerals in Brittany. And I chose the second one, who is actually a sacred piece of music for Saint Edan, which we call Zandweg in Brittany. So I thought that would make sense here, and as my contribution as a Breton musician. Thank you.
Díomh Cardia agus Agina Ushla. Good evening, distinguished guests, friends, and we're absolutely delighted to be together again. The first time we were playing together was in the Norman church in Normandy, and it was actually on the site of Saint Samson, an old monastery of Saint Samson. And Saint Samson, there are connections with him because he came from Wales and trained in Ireland, but became one of the patron saints of Brittany and Normandy. So it's quite fitting that after the COVID, we are coming back to play together in this beautiful church. So Turla Go Carolan, this is our tribute to him, we discovered that there were a lot of words that he'd written in Irish, as he was an Irish speaker, and not many people actually sing the words. They're not written down anywhere together with the music. So we have made this a project, and so tonight you'll hear some of the tunes you'll recognize, but with words that he himself wrote, and we put them together. So this next song is, or this first song actually of the night, is Bridget Cruz. And Bridget Cruz was the daughter of a headmaster of the School for the Blind that Turlough O'Carolan attended. And he was absolutely infatuated with her. And he tells a story to one of his colleagues, Charles O'Connor at the time, that he went on a pilgrimage to Lough Derg. And as he was coming back on the boat, he arrived at the shore to find lots of pilgrims waiting. And there were so many, he decided he would stay and help by giving his hand to the pilgrims getting on the boat. And one of the pilgrims, he touched her hand to help her. And he was blind, but he knew by the touch of her hand it was Bridget Cruz, the object of his affection. He wrote this quatrain, and just to give you a little bit of the flavor of it, he says, I think it's harder than the gold of Egypt and all Greece to be parting from you, and I without a brass farthing. If I could be with you with your beautiful hair, neck so tender, let me kiss your lips before you get on board. Is masal yam fein or na Egypt is a greger fa ve scarum win riet feinus me gan fiori na brush come a da great frog no Blushin da tula day to tar board is jack is masal yam fein or na Egypt is a grey fa ve scarum win riet fein is me Blushin dat veil sula day to tar board is jack. La water in between. Just bear with me. So now we're going to do another song that is from Turlough O'Carolan's collection, and this one you might know by the name of Fanny Power. Sometimes it's called Madam Trench. And Fanny Power was the daughter of Elizabeth and David Power from Loughrea, and they were patrons of Turlough O'Carolan. So he wrote this lovely planxty for Fanny Power, their daughter, and she was very beautiful. And so in this song he compares her to like a beautiful swan on the lake of Loughrea. And here we go. Is mian lauer der og vei hurk ta usle ganulag negas coil the viesen som mala ta gwen la krieg tam buena kassen de loivle shudi anala ta teva hun na slucha fadal nedagra si fanya jas ganul dan lisen en deal for boaga minnet la is Sarah is straight and virgin frack scoffing the grabina heaven and Pirla just calling the holy god train is not any folly we poor and funny when Davy is Sarah is straight and virgin frack scoffing the grabina heaven and Pirla just calling the holy god train is not any folly we poor and funny and Davy. The Turlough O'Carolan is somebody who has incredible compositions that are amazing that we still know them from the 17th century. And in fact, it was David talked about reading the book by Brian Keenan, who was hostage for a long time. And in his book, he actually says how the music of Turlough O'Carolan kept him going. It kept his sanity. And it is incredible how these beautiful compositions continue. So the thing is, this next song is actually an original that I wrote in the tradition, if you like, of putting music to poetry. And the poetry is by Nuala O'Gonal, one of our great Irish language poets, who's alive and well, living in Dublin. And she gave me permission to adapt this poem by her, which is called High Brassel. And the song I've put a melody to and adapted her poem is called Ilan Driachta. And High Brassel was the name of the ancient island off the west of Ireland, which has disappeared. But Ilan Driachta, the island of enchantment, it's calling you. Tarchuam, Tarchuam, I am calling you. So it's where you can rest your soul. So here we go. Clushing who a clear caram Suniha Egrolium chat Kajir Dilon Riata Unyan Gam Marhernyak Haran Mogna Is more I chant that Lord Augustus Nefa Tarhuam Enya Tatreta Klashim hu eklekaram Suniha Egrolium chat Kajir Dilandriata Fumyan Marhernyak Aramogna Is more Hashan good Lord Augustus Nefa I hear you call in the night. I hear you call in the night to the Isle of Mystery, to the Isle of Enchantment, to the Isle of Enchantment. Is more hard shot than Lord Augustus Nefa.
We will continue with what I call a funny piece of O Carolan. It's called the Carolan's Concerto, and we played it together in Wistreham in Normandy, in the Cathedral, and it's in a really major tune, you know. So I hope you enjoy. And I have to say, he wrote pretty hard tunes to play. Just saying.
So Brewen from Brittany gave a great talk last night on ancient connections to do with Wales and Brittany and a stop in Ireland. And we're very glad he was able to come over. So now we're going to do a song, David and myself, which is one of the tunes by Turlough O'Carolan. And we couldn't find any lyrics by him for this, so I put lyrics of my own to it. It's called Blind Mary, and it's a song that is in tribute to Moira Doll, Blind Mary, who was a blind harper. Quite unusual at the time for a woman harper to be well known. And she was actually the teacher of another blind woman harper called Rosemary Mooney. And Rosemary Mooney we know about because she played at the last, one of the Belfast Harp Festival in 1792, when there were so, the harpers were really of the last of the great tradition. And so that was a very important festival. So we know that the traditions continued from Blind Mary to Rosemary Mooney. And Blind Mary herself lived very close to Turlough O'Carolan. So we know that they would have known each other. They would have known each other. So I imagined in this song what it must have been like to be in the time of being in Ireland and coming across the harpers, because it is written that people would get together in the, not just harpers would play in the houses, of course, the beautiful houses and the aristocracy, but they also had their times in the pubs. Some things don't change, sessions, and so I imagined what it must have been like at that time and to come upon these wonderful harpers. I met him in my ramblings on the road to Mahercloon. He was known throughout all Ireland, the harper and the tune. I heard him play for 40 years, often underneath the moon. His music echoes down the years, the harper and the tune. He came, he played and conquered them, his Blankstees and his airs. They all listened and assembled there, Turlough O'Carolan. The jigs and reels danced off his strings, his airs were soft and light. He simply let the harp resound like laughter taking flight. I met in my ramblings Blind Mary, Moira Doll. She was known throughout all Ireland, and she played for one and all. I heard her play for 40 years, often underneath the moon. Her music echoes down the years, the harper and the tune. She came, she played and conquered them, her Blankstees and her airs. They all listened and assembled there, Blind Mary and her harp. The jigs and reels danced off her strings, her airs were soft and light. She simply a sound like laughter taking flight. Well, now we now come to Carolyn's concerto. Very well. Yeah. So, it's very interesting, the story of Turlough Carolan when he was on his deathbed, and he composed this tune, Carolan's Farewell to Music. So it has an elegy about it, it has a lament about it, and when Dave and I were talking about it, so Dave will begin it and Bray will join in too. But also what I'll bring in is a bit of keening, if you like, a queena, lamenting. So Carolan's Farewell to Music. now we're going to invite our local choir, Cordon Blues, who are going to come and join us, I hope. Mary Moles and the choir, come on up. We had a really interesting, come on up, yeah, while I'm talking. And they're going to join us for the last two songs of the concert. And we first met, in fact, it was Catherine who introduced me to Mary and the choir. And it was just before the COVID hit us. In fact, I was apparently the last rehearsal before the COVID hit. So it's actually really nice to have this opportunity to come back again and to ask them to join me and us for Shebeog Shimor. And again, you heard it at the beginning, and this time we're going to sing it with words, and Cordon Blues are going to join us for the chorus. So don't forget, folks, this is very unusual because hardly anybody has sung words to O Caroline. And we also are joined with the choir. We have Oren Fitzpatrick on piano. So we're delighted for them to join us. And, well, you know the story now. So, hi everyone. They all look lovely. Okay. Himras mor hanig eger ariana mar irka so dark naxi mar torch anti vorga mar ifein fuyo nanti vyak ni ref to a riv ko usulin he gained our hordia he duana gil behu and the khanch nil surka sound khani the kas is the love and trakrenja slutja bula jam erfana makara kanan sunal snilein riv dark lush on men narkal akjan san ershin and trakrenja slutja bula jam erfana makara kanan sunal snilein riv dark lush on men narkal akjan san ershin. Himras mor hanig eger ariana mar ilka son mar loxi mar dorch anti vorga mar ifein fuyo nanti vyak ni rev to a riv ko usulin he gained our ordia he duana gil beru and the khanch nil surka sound khani the khas is the life one atrakrenja slutja jam erfana makara kanan sunna snilein riv dark lush on min narkal akjan san ershin atrakrenja slutja jam erfana makara kanan sunna snilein to the song, which is actually the end of our concert tonight, but of course there's other things happening after. And this is very new and is an original based and inspired by mainly St. Madoc. The beginning of it actually was inspired by the story was found actually in Agalav na Shanorak, which is this wonderful 12th century narrative dialogue of the elders. And actually in it, St. Patrick meets the last of the Fianna, Oisin and Colcha. And they meet around various parts of Ireland and they sit down at special places to dialogue the old world and the new world. And it's a beautiful imaginative narrative about how the old and the new come together. And in it, it was actually just before the COVID, when I was in France, and I was really fascinated by the fact that in this narrative, Ferns is mentioned and Madoc is prophesied. So that started the whole song, which has now had its chance to develop. And now we have the choir joining us. And so I have had this in my head since the beginning of the COVID and right through the COVID. So it's fabulous to have a chance to sing this now. And this is the beginning of what will be a suite. So this is, there will be a continuation, just as our Reverend said. So the well, it's called the well. And since we have St. Madoc's well here, and I touch very much on the various stories that are around St. Madoc. And I had the pleasure of meeting some people from Cavan last night who are from the area St. Madoc came from. And we had a very nice conversation with, his name is Edan. I don't know if he's here tonight, but another Edan. And he told me about the fact that he comes from the island, or his grandparents came from the island where St. Madoc was brought up and blessed, and happened to be actually on the boundary of where Breffni, the kingdom of Breffni. And guess what? I'm an O'Reilly, so I have to go and visit there now myself. And so there's a lot of connections, and it's wonderful to see everybody here. And I want to say thank you very much, by the way, to Owen Green and all the team who organised this and got together, the Welsh team as well. A special thank you also to Catherine McPartlin, and also we want to thank Brian and Quiva and our sound man Joe and our lighting man Mark and Michael Duggan and his team as well. But also we'd like to say thanks to you who are supporting us. I'd like to say special thanks, of course, to the choir, Mary, and the Cordon Blues and Oren. But let's go on now with the song. Here we go.
Find us.
David Creedy on guitar, Brylin Favreau on pipes, and Melanie O'Reilly on vocals. And the Cordon Choir, and Oren Fitzpatrick. We now hand it back to Catherine.
Me. Okay, folks, moving swiftly along. Thank you. Okay. So that was really special. I think, yeah, we really appreciated that. Well done. We're so proud of you all. Thank you. So now Barbara Ann Cathaoirleach, Wexford County Council, will say a few words. S'il vous plaît. That's for you, Ruth. Right. Here we go.
Anyway, good evening, everybody. That was absolutely beautiful. Thank you. Wasn't it really stunning? I have to read this, if you don't mind, because this is my second speech of the day. But I want to acknowledge in the audience here this evening Minister James Brown, Liz Burns, the Arts Officer, Billy Byrne, the Tourism Officer, your own Bernie Quigley, who is our acting District Manager, because the support of Wexford County Council is very important to this project. So good evening, everyone, and I want to thank Dean Paul Mooney, the Vestry of St. Edan's Cathedral and Ferns Heritage Project for hosting this wonderful event tonight. As Cathaoirleach of Wexford County Council, I want to thank you for inviting me here. It was a stunning, emotional occasion this evening here in St. Edan's. I know the music of Turlough O'Carlin, and I have to say, having the music transposed from harp to guitar there at the beginning, it was stunning. The entire evening was stunning, so thank you so much. I want to particularly thank Catherine, Melanie, and the Allabair trio, and our own local choir, the Cordon Blues. You were just fantastic, I really have to say. It was inspiring, it was beautiful, it was just so gorgeous. Wexford County Council, Visit Wexford, Pembrokeshire County Council, and all the project partners are delighted to support this event and many others that will be taking place in the next year as part of the Ancient Connections project. We're also very excited about the developing pilgrimage route, which will connect Ferns and all of County Wexford to St. David's in Pembrokeshire in Wales. There's a long and deep connection between the communities here in Wexford and our cousins across the Irish Sea in Pembrokeshire, and we look forward to further developing these relationships in the future. We're all pilgrims on the journey of life, but this evening we have pilgrims who are going to head off for the coming week to connect Ferns and St. David's. And this is just the start of many journeys between our two communities. And my colleagues in Wexford County Council, the councillors, as well as the executive and staff, our minister, TDs and senator, all wish you the very best in your endeavours. Gunyairi and Boher live, Galair, may the road rise to meet you, may the wind be at your back, and may the rain keep away. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much, Cathaoirleach. And apologies for ignoring John Brown and Bernie. Now, so I'm going to hand you over to Ian Tweedale, who's with Journeying, a pilgrimage touring or guiding company from Wales. And Ian is going to introduce us to our pilgrims.
Thank you very much. Okay. I'll stand on the step as well. Oh my word, that is very bright, isn't it? Well, all I can say is I wish you'd have said that about the rain before today. So yeah, I'm Ian Tweedale. I'm here with a bunch of pilgrims. Give us a wave. Yes. It's absolutely so fantastic to be here because we've been waiting to do this for 2 years. And this is the inaugural pilgrimage on the new route between Ferns and St David's. And we're going to be the first group of many coming on this route over the next few years. And we're so excited because it's one of the things that will be one of the legacy projects for the Ancient Connections project. So I'm working with Journeying, as was mentioned there by Catherine, but also the British Pilgrimage Trust, Pilgrim Paths Ireland, and Guided Pilgrimage as well. So those 4 organisations have come together to work with Wexford and Pembrokeshire councils to establish this new route that will really put Ferns on the map and also connect it to St David's over the next few years. And it's been lovely to have the music tonight, and I think this trip here is a creative Camino. So we have a group of artists with us. So we've got all sorts of people, musicians, dancers, singers. We've got people who are wood turners. We've got people who are involved in textiles, all sorts of things. We've got a poet. We've got all sorts of writers and people like that. So, and I think that just reflects something that will make this pilgrimage really distinctive. It's about the art. It's about the creativity of the pilgrimage that we see in amongst the communities that we go through between here and Rosslare and then over to St David's. And so I think that's really important that we sort of build on the creative talents of the people that we've seen tonight, and we really want to build that into it. We're actually going to be walking over the next 8 days, and it's really, we hope the weather improves a little bit, but it's going to be great. And really, one of the things that we've done or that we'll be doing is to take water from St Mogue's Well, and we're going to take that water all the way down to St David's, and we're going to merge that water with the water from St Non's Well in St David's, and that's a lovely symbolic connection between the 2 communities that we really want to connect up as well. And so pilgrimage is also another thing. It's open to everyone. It's not just for people who are sort of really hardcore pilgrims. It's open for everyone. And one of the things that we want to do is to hold a series of pilgrimage days, over the next few months as we launch this in a more formal way between now and 2023. And the first one of these is going to be on June the 11th. And we'll keep in touch with you and let you know how that's going. And then maybe a lot of us can go out and get on the path as well. So not just the sort of 10, 12 people who are going there. So that's all I want to say. Thank you so much for inviting us here tonight. We're really excited about doing the rest of the pilgrimage. And what I wanted to do is hand over to 2 of the pilgrims who are going to come up and sing for you a pilgrimage song. So Susie McGregor and Kate Powell.
Hello. Yeah, that was absolutely beautiful music this evening. It's a real pleasure to be here. And this is a song that I wrote when I walked the Camino de Santiago in 2019. It was about halfway through the 6-week journey. And I was walking with a guy from Israel. And he said, oh, I met some people today who asked me what I was doing. And he said, I'm walking, I'm just walking. And I looked at him and I said, oh, that sounds like the first 2 lines of a song. And then a few weeks later, we crossed paths again. And I found him and I said, hey, I did actually write a song. So yeah, you never know when inspiration's gonna hit you. So yeah, this is called the Camino song, and Kate's gonna play some violin.
Thank you. That was beautiful. Really impressive again. Thank you very much. So now we have our Gaelic noblemen and women who are going to mark the way for the initial stage of the pilgrimage and will guide our pilgrims as they leave. But first, what is the first, actually? I need to, before we do the blessing, we are going to have some gift giving, I think. We would, sorry, Melanie. That's okay, I thought you were trying to communicate something to me. So, yes, so we would invite the representatives of the pilgrims, who are Kate from Wexford and Susie from Wales, from Pembrokeshire. And I have a couple of staffs to pass over. And before I do, I need to get the staff, so I'm just going to leave this down. To say, I suppose, by way of explanation. We're told in one of the lives of Méadach or St. Edan that Edan went on a pilgrimage to Rome, and when he was there, he got two gifts at the altar of St. Peter. One was the Brac Maog, which he left to Drumlane in County Cavan. It's now housed in the National Museum. And the other gift was a staff, which was called the Staff of Brandove, because he was the Gaelic king who ruled from Ferns at the time, and because Edan had, I think, saved him in battle or whatever. There are a few various versions. One was that I think he brought him back to life in order that he would give him the last rites and he could go straight to heaven. But anyway, in whichever reason, he granted Edan lands in Ferns where he built his monastery. So where are we now? So it's likely that the staff became a significant relic as they did, and it more than likely was housed in a church in Ferns. Relics were a way of attracting pilgrims to come, so people would have come to Ferns to visit the grave of St. Edan, but also to view a significant relic like the staff, which was associated with such a revered saint. So reading about the staff and the link with St. Edan and pilgrimage, the Ferns Heritage Project thought it would be a good idea to commission the making of the staff of St. Edan, and while we were at it, we decided that we'd get one made for the people of Wales. So the staffs are here. They are made of Wexford hazel. Now, you might think, well, why not alder? Because obviously Ferns is associated with alder, but it was deemed that the hazel was a better wood for a staff, nice and straight and all the rest, but it's also made of Wexford ram's horn. And the collar is silver. And in the case of St. Edan, the word Edan is transcribed, and here we have dewy. So it's with great pleasure that I would, and Barry, if you could maybe help. So Barry is a member of the Heritage Project Group and a noble man, as you can see. So this is the staff of St. Edan, which you'll present to Susie as, I suppose, a symbol of the bond between our communities and the, what binds us, I suppose, yeah. And the other is the staff of St. Edan, which will be presented to Kate, representing the Wexford pilgrims. So that's really, I think, the end of this part. And I'm just to remind you, as the pilgrims leave now through the noble men and women, can you recognize the Gaelic as opposed to the Norman? I think maybe the Normans are a little more colourful. Oh, yes, well, okay, so see, I'm sorry, there's another gift going. Yes, so just remind, if you could stay in place as the pilgrims leave, and Melanie will sing a blessing just after this next gift section. But Melanie will sing a blessing for the pilgrims as they leave the cathedral, and then the noblemen and women will leave after them. We will wait for a minute maybe, and allow them get themselves together for the next section of the evening. Okay.
This is a piece holder, and it comes from the fragment that was excavated. I've tried to replicate a similar bowl. So it's a little gift from Wales to Ferns. Thank you.
This will feature in the Medieval Ferns experience. As you go out the door, there is a leaflet which you should pick up and make hasty, not now because it's closed, but it's Wexford's newest visitor attraction. It's just superb. You need to go. It tells the story of Ferns during the medieval period in a kind of a quirky way, using virtual reality and all the rest. So there you go. You'll get a beautiful smell. So yeah, do visit and have a look. And with the staff of St. Edan will feature also when the Wexford pilgrim pins back. So thank you all. Now I'll hand over to Melanie, who will sing a blessing to the pilgrims.
So we're going to, thanks Catherine, we're going to do the last two verses of the song, The Well, because it's actually appropriate, sending the pilgrims on their way. And also we mentioned Blossom from Hazel. So that's part of the staff, isn't it? As that was special miracle from St. Madoc. Here we go.